I'll give you a background of how smart grid evolved globally and in India, and what status it has. What are the things which involve power grid, especially in the electricity sector. So it'll give you some sort of a thing how it has evolved. It's because I was involved with this right since the beginning. Right. So most people would already know, but just for people who don't know, what is smart grid? So this word was first coined by in the Energy Independence and Security Act of 2007 of the USA, which was approved in 2007. So it actually didn't define it as a definition, but gave a description. It gave a description with 10 characteristics, which was considered as a definition for smart grid. And the first two were increased use of digital information and controls technology to provide reliability, security, and efficiency of the electric grid, and dynamic optimization of grid operations and resources with full cybersecurity. So this actually gives you quite a bit of what it is. The European Union Commission also defined smart grid as an electricity network that can cost efficiently integrate the behavior and action of all users connected to it, generators, consumers, and those that do both, in order to ensure economically efficient, sustainable power system with low losses and high levels of quality and security of supply and security. A smart grid employs innovative products and services with intelligent monitoring, control, communication, and self-healing technology in order to do a number of functions, probably around 6 functions. But the important part in this is that it also talks about services, products and services. So it's not only devices but also services, which will enable efficient, sustainable power system. And one of the main reasons why this has become important presently is the large amount of intermittent generation which is coming into the system. How to tackle the intermittency in a way where it's predictable to some extent, but it's still variable. You can't 100% predict of how it's going to happen. So you need information technology into the power system, and this is what really prompted a lot of the word smart grid, because we had already smart grid in the power system, which was even under frequency relay was a smart grid, but it was not really the word was coined because it had to do much more with not only the extra high voltage grid but also the consumer level. The IEEE defines smart grid as an electrical grid that uses information technology, automation, and communication systems to monitor and control power flow. So, how it started in India was that there were two organizations which were formed: India Smart Grid Task Force and India Smart Grid Forum. The India Smart Grid Task Force was an interministerial group. It was launched in May 2010, and its function was to accelerate the implementation of smart grids and to policy and to create a policy for guidance of smart grid initiatives in India. It was under the Ministry of Power. And India Smart Grid Forum was another organization which was established in 2011, which is a public-private partnership to advise the government on smart grid policies and programs. And it also worked with national and international agencies to develop standards and help utilities, regulators, and industry with technology selection, training, and capacity building. Later, this was the India Smart Grid Task Force Secretariat was merged with the National Smart Grid Mission, of which Atul Bali is heading it here. So that's how it has gone over the years. This was created in 2015. Uh, and the real initiative started with pilot projects, 12 pilot projects in 10 states. And of course, most of these projects had to do with installation of smart meters with the objective of reduction of AT&C losses, which is the main concern in India. And the National Smart Grid Mission established a Smart Grid Knowledge Center in Manesar, and also did a number of other things, developed a dashboard, standard bidding documents, and for implementation of AMI, which is basically the smart meters. Then there was how it was taken forward was that the regulations need to be created at the state level, because the central government creates policies, but it had to percolate to the states where all the action was supposed to be. All the implementation would have to be done in the states. So the Ministry of Power formed a committee in 2013 consisting of CA, central and state regulators, for making model smart grid regulations. Now, these were discussed in the Forum of Regulators, which is an association of chairmen of the central and state regulatory commissions. And a subcommittee was formed, and finally the model smart grid regulations was notified in the Forum of Regulators, by the Forum of Regulators, and a number of state regulatory commissions have now adopted these as it is or with some modifications. Now, getting into real hardware, what smart meter is at the heart of smart grid. It has a lot of functions which, so this came out as a policy in 2016 by the Government of India of installation of smart meters within a certain time frame. However, it couldn't be done because it percolated to all consumers, whether industrial, commercial, or residential. So it gave it was the thing was that smart meters production capacity, because we have a lot of meters, I think about 4.5 million or 450 million, I don't know, 250 million smart meters in the country, and the capacity was not enough for this. So later it was now, what is a smart meter? It can provide time-wise data to create what was mentioned in the policy was that it should be it would be used for accurate demand forecasting, and of course for time of day metering, for enabling that. Now, I think most people would know that when they see the power exchange prices, the prices during peak time are much higher than the off-peak prices. So there is a demand which varies over the day, and therefore billing should also be done in that way. But because we did not have smart meters, this was not done. It was done in case of industrial consumers in many states, but not for all consumers. Once you have these smart meters in place, you'll have that enablement, so that people can then optimize their bills by trying to use more electricity during the time when it is cheaper or when there's less demand, which can be done. So that actually is called demand response. When you have earlier, when you had only thermal generation, then it was controllable, and they were following what the demand, in accordance with the demand generation, which was coming mainly in the evening earlier. Now when you have solar, which is mainly during the day, and wind, which is less predictable, but it's mostly during the mornings and evenings. So of course the combined solar and wind generation form a good sort of self-balancing, but it's still not predictable, and you can have sudden ramping down of wind or even solar when you have clouds cover. So the generation was had the load. I mean, generation. You have to have balancing generation, which is standby generation, or you could have storage, store electricity when there's excess generation over the demand, and give back to the system when there's more demand than generation. So that's one. But the other thing which has got a huge potential but not used so far is demand response. So that's where you give consumers a choice to change their demand profile. Maybe put on the washing machine when there is when the electricity prices are cheaper, and not put it on when they are costlier. Similarly for many other appliances which people can use their innovation and think of. If you have these smart meters, it will give you how the demand of each consumer varies over the day, and they can also get information on that through a display panel. But it also gives transformer wise loading, so you can actually postpone augmentation of a distribution system if you have accurate data. For example, the peak demand on a transformer may come for only 1 or 2 hours. So would it be wise to strengthen the whole system, right from the transmission to distribution, or would it be wiser to put a storage battery over there at the substation, which takes care of the increased demand for just about 2 hours? When you do a cost benefit analysis, Tata Power and BSES both have found that it is cheaper actually to put a battery there in some transformers, so that you don't have to strengthen the system right through, mainly because of in the cities you have right of way issues also, as well as it's costlier to do that and more time taking. So that's the benefit of smart meters. And of course it can also provide procurement planning, because a state may not want to, if they know the demand profile, how it varies over the day, over seasons, they can do wiser procurement planning. Another thing which I mentioned was a large grid scale battery. The largest grid scale battery system in the world, which is mainly lithium ion, is presently in California. It's 750 megawatt and 3000 megawatt hours, so which means around 4 hours storage. And this was installed in stages between 2020 and 22. And there's also a sodium ion battery which is now coming into, which is people think would be a future potential, would have future potential. This is in China, the biggest one, which is 100 megawatt and 200 megawatt hour, which means 2 hours storage. And this is installed. The first portion was installed in July 24, which is half of that. There are many other parts of a smart grid. One of them is digital twin. Now, what is a digital twin? It's a virtual model of a physical, it could be a generator or a transmission system or a distribution system. NTPC uses digital twins for simulating what would actually happen to the object without actually carrying out the experiment. Seeing it in real, seeing it will really happen. So how it's going to be affected because of simulating that into a digital twin. But of course the trick would be to see that it's accurately represented, because otherwise it would not give accurate results. So they're used to understand and predict the performance of physical counterpart. Internet of Things is another thing which is used. It refers to a network of physical objects that are connected and can exchange data with other devices and systems over the internet. And these objects can include anything, including household items, uh, home automation. So a simple example of that is Alexa, which many people would probably know. And home automation, where you can switch on the AC or switch off or any appliance from your mobile, even when you're not there. So that's another thing of Internet of Things. If you feel that it's cheaper to run the washing machine at a particular time, you can switch it on from remote, from wherever you are. So IoT sensors can help detect power in the power system. It can help detect power outages quickly, allowing grid operators to respond more efficiently. Another thing which has part of smart grid is phasor measurement units. Now these are units which it's like the stethoscope of the system, very useful for grid operators because they can actually detect especially when a system is going to lose stability, angular stability, and therefore take remedial actions before that happens. So angular stability is another thing which is not probably difficult for people to understand. That's one of the things which is seen by the system operator, other than line loading and frequency and voltage profile. So the Indian power system was one of the first systems to install this in the entire grid, which is 1700 phasor measurement units over the entire grid. US has installed it over the entire grid in the last 6 years mainly. We did it even before that. Another part is of smart grid is blockchain technology, which so probably many of you would know it, but just to see that everybody's on the same page, is a way to record information in a secure, transparent, and immutable way across the network of computers. It's also known as distributed ledger technology. So I won't go through all this. It's just a chain of actions which are recorded with the timestamp, and the important thing is it is distributed in all the computers. So it helps it would help if one consumer, rooftop solar PV consumer, wants to sell electricity to another consumer in the grid. They can do it. They can do that using this technology because it gets recorded of how much power has flowed. Also cryptocurrency uses blockchain technology. Only thing is it uses a lot of power. That's why most people, there's a tendency to go towards more of green energy for this purpose, or try to see how economize electricity usage in this. So industry 4.0 innovations, that's the fourth industrial revolution which has come, which combines all these which are mentioned. So some of these include cloud computing, Internet of Things, additive manufacturing, augmented reality. So in augmented reality, maybe many of you have seen that or experienced that. You can see what would happen to actual physical things which are there, using glasses, big glasses. Artificial intelligence, and we already mentioned about digital twin, and of course robo. Thank you. I think there's actually a lot of things in. I just thought I'll give you a sample of what is there in a smart grid. Thank you.